Hello everyone, my name is Sleshi. Today I am here for you to tell you something about deep learning based emotion classification for Amharic texts, and the authors for the paper for these papers are Sleshi Bogal Haile, who is me, Tadese Destavale, Tadese Kabede Baharu, and Tadese Virara Akele are the authors for these papers. And the outlines which is discussed or which is covered under this presentation is introduction, statement of problem, research methodology, and there is other sub topics are also included to be presented under this presentation. And as an introduction, nowadays web technologies are developed to allow billions of people in order to share or in order to exchange ideas between the content which is created by someone. So by using view, post, and give feedback, you can communicate with each other. So in order to allow people to communicate their ideas through online, web technologies are increased through time to time. The one which is used in order to communicate ideas between the people is social medias, which gives an opportunity to capture emotions, feelings, stances, and sentiments with regard to products and services. So emotions are useful to understand people's feeling, ideas, thoughts, views, and any other suggestions. So people can convey their emotions through their face, voice, and texts. That means in order to express their ideas or in order to express their feelings, emotions, and sentiments, people can use these three things. That is face, which is expressed through physical, and voice by recording sounds or audio sounds, and texts. That means by using emotional texts, we can express people's idea through a comment or through a feedback or through posts. So with regard to this one, we can convey its emotion. And the majority of people among these three ways of expressing emotions, the majority of the people prefer text. That means in order to express their emotions, people can use or prefer texts in terms of emails, comments, and products and web blogs. So emotions can be categorized into different types based on different psychological researchers. For example, Paul Ekman is one of the psychology research who categorized emotions into six classes such as happiness, sad, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. And another scientist, psychological researchers, whose name is Plutchek, also upgraded to nine classes, such as embarrassment, excitement, relief, guilt, contempt, shame, pride, satisfaction, and amusement. There is also another psychological researchers who upgrades the emotion class into 11 classes, 13, and any others. Based on their study or based on their thoughts, emotion types can be categorized into many groups. But this study is covered based on Paul Ekman. That means the basic emotional classes with six classes, with including a neutral class. So the aim of this study is to develop deep learning based emotion classification model for Amharic texts. We are going to develop a model for emotional texts based on Amharic texts. When it comes to the statement of the problem, that means a motivation that we are going to develop for this model or for this study are some of the statements of the problems. With regard to social media, authors can upload content to the people, and viewers can react any comments using Amharic texts. So in order to grasp the people's emotion, authors can take the user's text and categorize the comments based on its emotion manually. That means they try to collect and read or scrap each and every comments manually. And these techniques, that means in order to extract person's emotion, this technique is time consuming and needs in psychological knowledge. Because of this reason, we are going to develop a model. And in addition to that, a lot of focus has been done in Arabic, English, and other related languages using texts. But this technique is not directly performed for Amharic languages because there is some differences between Latin, English, and Arabic languages with regard to Amharic. With its grammatical nuances, structure, writing system, and encoding styles between those word languages are different with each other. Because of this reason, we are going to develop for emotion classification models by using deep learning approaches. When it comes to the methodology, let me start from dataset collections. Then the dataset is collected from different Amharic YouTube channels and Facebook pages by using API from YouTube and face pager from Facebook channels or Facebook accounts. We are going to collect more than 300k free comments from different YouTube and Facebook channels. But after collecting free texts, we try to extract only emotional texts based on its keyword. For example, in order to extract a happy text, we are going to select some keywords like des, that means ደስ ይላል, አሪፍ, that means አሪፍ ነው, ጥሩ ነው, በርታ፣ ቀጥልበት, ያስደስታል. And those are keywords which is used to extract happy classes. That means a happy, in order to categorize comments as a happy, those keywords are available. So based on this and other keywords, we are going to extract only emotional texts. And when it comes to the data annotation technique, the comments are annotated by 11 native Amharic speakers based on emotion keywords, but 2 of them have its psychological expert or its psychological knowledge, and the remaining 9% are only native Amharic speakers, but no have any psychological knowledge. But in order to annotate this data based on its emotional class, we are going to prepare some guidelines. That means we are going to express the emotional classes, how to categorize based on its group. We are going to extract and we are going to describe the keywords that we are going to categorize its emotion. So one comment is examined by 3 annotators and selected if at least 2 of the annotators must agree. Unless and otherwise, we are rejecting or we are removing the texts from emotional texts. To assess the data set, we select, that means after labeling and annotating by 9 native Amharic speakers, we are going to select 1000 data using systematic random sampling out of the whole data set with a 14 intervals. Then these selected data sets are evaluated by 2 psychologists. That means a person who have a psychological expert or a psychological knowledge in order to determine whether or not the data is classified into the right class or not. And finally, we get or we extract 14,716 data sets, which is used for model development. And when it comes to the model architecture, it looks like this one. There is a social media which is used to extract raw data set, and there is a data set which is collected from these 2 types of social media, and the raw data set is categorized. That means after labeling the data set, it can be categorized into 2. That is training data set and testing data set. And after this one, we are going to yield some pre-processing steps like data cleaning, which is used to remove HTML links, non-Amharic characters, and any unnecessary links or punctuation marks are also removed from here. And there is also a tokenization, which means we are going to split large paragraphs or large phrases into a sentence level, and these sentence levels are tokenized or splitting into a word. There is also stop word removal. That means a word which is existing or found repeatedly from the corpus, we are going to remove it. And finally, there is also stemming. That means we are going to we try to remove like prefixes and suffixes, which is sle, le, ka, and any other prefixes. And the next step for pre-processing is a padding sequence. That means we are going to equalize the length of the sentence, and from the training set there is the generation of features. We are going to use CBOW or continuous bag of words in order to extract features from the word. And after this one, that means after extracting the feature, we are going to develop a building models, that means by using a CNN with input layers, conventional layer, pooling layer, and softmax functions. And finally, from the main model, which is trained based on the training dataset, directly getting the testing datasets from here. And this testing dataset is categorized based on its emotional classes like happy, sad, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and neutral classes are used. And when it comes to the word embedding, that means in order to convert words or sentences into a vector form, we are going to use 2 embedding approaches. That is word to vec, static word embedding, which was built by the researchers, and the second from a publicly available contextual embedding from Hacking Faces. By using this, we are going to select features for the given corpus. And there is contextual embedding is Amroborta, a Roberta embedding model that was built for Amharics using 6.5 million sentences, which is extracting or crawled from different sources, which is available freely through the people. And in order to develop a model, we are going to use 5 deep learning approaches. That is LSTM, by LSTM, CNN, by GRU, and a combination of CNN by LSTM. Among this, we are going to tend CNN better results in our experiment and selected for our model constructions or our model development. Because when we are going to compare the remaining models, CNN goes to a better result based on its performance. And finally, we are going to classify the given comments into its proper class. That is the final output of the model. So it is determined by the dense layer in order to classify text emotions. That is Amharic text emotions. Like we film ሲያስፈራ, which is categorized under fear emotion class, and ምን አይነት ነው ሲያናድድ, which is categorized under anger emotion classes. Finally, we are going to evaluate the model in terms of accuracy, F1 score, that is F1 measure, recall and precision are some of the evaluation criteria in order to evaluate our model. So in order to develop the model, we are going to select experimental setups or experimental parameters, which is a variable in order to adjust the model with high accuracy. We are going to select these types of parameters like dimension, learning rate, batch size, mean delta, and the others are selected such like this one. And when it comes to the experimental results, by using different types of deep learning models with addition to Amharic, that is a contextual word embedding, we got these types of results like precision, recall, F1 score, and accuracy. And as we have seen from this experimental result, CNN tends to best accuracy, or it gives or it achieves a better result when we are going to compare with the remaining types of deep learning approaches. And as we have seen from the result, we get CNN gets a better result when compared with the other classifiers, and it outperforms 77.0 accuracy. This is due to the ability to generate essential features from small data. And the next, we got a bind step. That means it is hard in order to remember features of the text from a small data set. But when we see Amharic, that is a contextual word embedding layer approach, it gets a small data accuracy. That this may due to its need for a large data set. That means Amharic is a contextual word embedding model that needs a large amount of data set. And the domains of the pre-trained model and our emotion data sources may not be matched from the Amharic. And generally, our models perform less when compared to the previous other language works in case. That means there is other researchers which is performed based on other world language like Arabic, English, and Chinese or Spanish and in other languages. Because of our we're going to select some small data sets. That is the nature of the language, and the emotion text by its nature is short and sarcastic. With regard to this one, we got little amounts of accuracy or small accuracy. For example, ይሄን መሳጭ ፊልም ተደብሬበታለሁ. The annotators labeled as a happy, but our model categorized this text as a disgust class because there is a word which is ተደብሬበታለሁ. That means it is a directly translation that is isolated by this boring film. That is this one. Because of this reason, this decreases or minimizes our model performance. And when it comes to the conclusion, this research aims to investigate the approaches to deep learning based emotion classification in Amharic text. And in order to develop our model, we're going to collect data sets from YouTube channels and Facebook pages. And finally, we are going to categorize or label into 7 classes. After collecting the data set, we are going to kill some pre-processing techniques like removing some stop words, tokenization, normalization, stemming, padding, and the remaining other types of pre-processing techniques are killed from here. And the deep learning approaches are used for model construction with word embedding techniques to convert the data to vector representation. And finally, after trying numerous experiments, we got CNN model achieves a better performance with 77.0 accuracy. When it comes to the contribution of our work, we have collected and annotated the first emotion data of its type for Amharic texts, which have 7 emotion classes like happy, surprise, anger, sadness, fear, disgust, and neutral. So based on this one, we're going to collect and annotate the first emotional Amharic datasets. We evaluated the performance of the model and found the best deep learning model for Amharic text emotion classification. That means in my work, we recommend to use CNN model approaches. and publicly release the annotated Amharic emotion text dataset and word embedding models for the next researchers with regard to emotion class. And finally, I would like to say thank you to give you your time and attention.